Hello. I wrote this book, Meet Me by the Steelmen, quite a while ago now, when Meadowhall shopping centre was newly built. Right in the middle of the shopping centre, there used to be 3 statues of steelmen, which I thought were wonderful and a little bit magical too. And that's how I ended up writing Meet Me by the Steelmen. I'm going to read it chapter by chapter once a week. And so if you would like to listen in, that would be lovely. So we're going to start with the first chapter today, which is called The Statues. They stood head and shoulders above the crowd of shoppers. 3 giants cast in bronze, 3 Sheffield steelmen. Our Stevie had been mad about them ever since Meadowhall shopping centre first opened. All he ever wanted to do was stand by the statues, staring up at them. "Jenny, keep your eye on Stevie," said Mum. "Wait here and don't wander off. It looks as though there's going to be a band on." She nodded to where men in overalls were putting up a platform on the other side of the lift. A small crowd was gathering above the stage. "OK," I said. Mum went into the vast supermarket that sold everything from food to furniture. I sighed. It was the school holidays, and Meadowhall is a wonderful place to be if you are free to wander and buy and taste and smell. But if you've got a nuisance of a 7-year-old brother to look after, it spoils it a bit. "Come on," I said, grabbing his arm. "Let's look at the cake stall. I'll buy you a jammy donut or one of those specialised biscuits." Stevie shook his head. "No," he said seriously. "I've got to watch the men. He's weird, my brother." Other young kids whined around the chocolate stall, their mouths dribbling with the luscious display. Not our Stevie. All he ever wanted to do was watch the 3 steelmen. There was giggling behind me, and Sue and Amy from school rushed up. They grabbed me, one on each side. "Hi, Jenny, we thought it was you. Have you come to see the band? They're supposed to be on in 5 minutes, and they're really loud. And they dance too, Sally's cousin's in it." I pulled a miserable face and nodded at our Stevie. "I'm supposed to be keeping an eye on him." "He'll be all right," said Amy. "You can still see him from over there. We want to get to the front of the stage." I turned and I looked at Stevie. He wasn't going to run off anywhere. I could be pretty sure of that. "I'm going to listen to the band," I said. "You stay right here. Don't move." He didn't answer, but he nodded his head. He never took his eyes from the statues. We pushed our way through the crowd until we stood at the front of the stage. "What's going on over there?" I said, nodding at the shop behind the stage. It was full of security guards and even a policeman. "That's the 3rd policeman I've seen here today," said Sue. "There's something up," I agreed. "It must be a break-in," said Amy. "The shutters are still down. But look at them." Then I saw that one of the strong, fancy metal shutters that protect the shops at night had a hole in it. It wasn't a big hole, just wide enough to get your hand through. "But aren't they made of steel, those shutters?" "I thought they were," said Amy. "I've tried to swing on them." "Look at the edges of the hole," said Sue. "It's as if it's been melted." "But why would anyone do that?" I asked. "Why break into a shop that sells Yorkshire puddings? I mean, look, there's a jeweller's next door with diamond rings and necklaces." We all stared as the police measured the hole in the metal. You could see from their faces that they were as puzzled as we were. "Perhaps whoever did it was hungry," said Amy. Then, all at once, the members of the band were jumping up onto the stage and snatching up their instruments. They weren't famous or anything, but they were good, and we all started clapping our hands and dancing along with them. It was exciting, what with the thudding music and the plastic palm trees all swaying gently as we jigged about. It was so lovely that I completely forgot about Stevie, and I only remembered him again when the band stopped and everyone cheered. "Oh, help," I said, "my brother." I pushed my way back through the crowd, but I needn't have worried. Mum wasn't back yet, and of course Stevie hadn't moved. "Great band," I said. "Could you hear them?" He nodded, but didn't speak. Then I saw that his cheeks had gone very white. I felt bad for leaving him. "Are you all right?" I asked, putting my hand out to touch his shoulder. "Yes," said Stevie, "I'm all right, but I got a bit scared. He looked at me." He pointed up at the smallest statue, a young lad. "He moved his head," Stevie insisted, "and he looked right at me and stuck out his tongue." A strange, shuddery feeling crept up my back. Stevie was so pale and so certain that I had to look up at the statue myself. Even though it was the smallest of the three, it towered high above us. The bronze face was tinged with green, and the boy looked down at the big pot that another man was tipping. The muscles in his face clenched in concentration. Golden bronze veins stood out on his hands. You could see the woven pattern on his apron and the creases in his heavy clogs. The statues certainly were very lifelike. I had to give Stevie that. "Come on now, don't be daft," I said. But still, I shivered a bit. So, that's the end of the first chapter of Meet Me by the Steelmen. Hope to see you again next week for the second chapter. Bye-bye.